Osagie paced the floor of his hotel suite, his heart racing with excitement and nerves. The morning sun bathed Benin City in a golden glow, a fitting blessing for what should have been the happiest day of his life. Today, he was marrying Itoha, the love of his youth, his constant, through thick and thin, the woman whose name was on his lips during prayers. The entire community burst with anticipation. Osagie and Itoha weren't just lovers, they were a symbol of what love should be. Their story had inspired many. Their union was prayed for in church vigils, toasted to at family gatherings, and whispered about with admiration by neighbors. Osagie straightened his suit as his best man Efosa said to him, "Today is your day, bro. No turning back now." The convoy of groomsmen vehicles moved through the city streets, music blaring, horns honking joyfully. That was the last moment Osagie would remember clearly for a long time. A loud honk, a screech of tires, a flash of light, then darkness. At the church, Itoha sat nervously and restlessly. She could not shake the knot in her stomach off. Osagie had not called all morning. She had tried and tried, no answer. The network, she told herself. It must be the terrible network. The church was packed, but the groom's seat was empty. Minutes turned to hours. Then the doors burst open. A whisper, a scream. Someone fainted. There had been an accident, a collision with a tanker. The groomsmen vehicles were crushed. All of them passed except Osagie, the messenger said. Itohan's world shattered. For 2 weeks, the hospital room reeked of antiseptic and sorrow. Osagie lay still, cast and bandaged. Doctors said he was lucky to be alive, but his spinal cord was damaged. He might never walk again. Please subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell, like, and comment. Thank you. Itohan wept at the bedside every day. "I'll still marry you," she whispered one evening. "We'll get through this together." And marry him she did. Osagie is home, paralyzed from the waist down, confined to a wheelchair. At first, Itohan tried. She cooked. She bathed him. She kept up appearances. But as days turned into months, her affection wore thin. Soon, her smiles vanished. Her phone, once locked and private, buzzed late into the night. Then, the unthinkable happened. Itohan started bringing other men into the house. Osagie, once her beloved man, became the invisible burden. She mocked him in silence, ignored in plain sight. But not by everyone. Every Friday afternoon, Ivie, Itohan's younger sister, would stop by. She's barely 22. She was gentle, soft-spoken, and warm-hearted. She would sweep the floor, wash Osagie's clothes, and prepare his favorite meals, spaghetti with peppered snail. "You deserve better," she would whisper as she massaged his feet. "Don't give up." But each time Osagie watched her quietly, her compassion stirred something in him, something he had almost forgotten: hope. One day, while she cleaned the small study room, he waited until she left. Then he reached beneath the bed. Slowly, he stood up. He took a cautious step, then another. Then he smiled. Because the truth was, Osagie had been healed over a month ago. Osagie stood in the shadows of his dimly lit room, muscles trembling, not from pain, but from restraint. Every step he took was deliberate, quiet, and full of purpose. For 1 month, he had lived in the lie. He had swallowed the shame, pretended to be broken. And now he was watching everything, every move Itohan made. He had trusted her with his soul. Now he was watching her sell it for temporary thrills. Itohan returned late that evening, her perfume arriving before her presence. Osagie, back in his wheelchair, stared blankly at the TV screen. She barely even noticed him. "Hope you've eaten," she said curtly, walking straight to the bedroom. Minutes later, Osagie heard the sound of a video call and her laughter filling the air, soft and flirtatious, the way she used to laugh with him. By the third week of such behavior, Itohan no longer hid anything. She moved like a woman untethered, bringing men into the house while Osagie sat and watched, mocking her husband's condition behind closed doors. She believed he was nothing more than a shadow of a man, immobile, helpless, irrelevant. Osagie began writing all her deeds in a journal, names, conversations, dates. His healing had given him back more than his legs. It gave him clarity. He knew now that Itoha had not stayed out of love. She stayed for appearances, maybe for pity. But when that wore off, her true nature emerged. But not everyone had abandoned him. Ivie, oh, caring Ivie, came every other day as she carried bowls of assorted meals. She sat with him, talked with him, not just about his condition, but about his dreams, his favorite scriptures, his memories of childhood. She never treated him like a cripple. One quiet afternoon, Osagie broke the silence. "Ivie," he said, his voice strong, "what if I told you I could walk?" She dropped the mop and turned, her eyes wide. "What do you mean?" "I've been walking for weeks. I pretended because I needed to know the truth about your sister." Ivie's mouth trembled. You've been pretending this whole time?" He nodded slowly. She sat beside him, stunned. "Then why are you still here?" "Because the world believed we were perfect," Osagie whispered. "Because I needed to see her for who she really is without the mask. And I have." He looked at Ivie, really looked at her. "But I also saw you, the real you." She looked away, cheeks flushed. Itohan's downfall began with a man named Kelvin, her newest catch, a businessman from Warri who drove a silver Benz and spoke in boastful bursts. One Saturday night, she brought him home, tipsy and laughing, completely forgetting her husband was sitting in his wheelchair and watching. Kelvin strolled in confidently, glanced at Osagie and chuckled. "Now this be your husband? No be only wedding crash. This one go crash your life, oh." Itohan laughed. "Na pity I still dey pity am here, oh. I for don japa since." Kelvin smirked. "Leave am, na furniture e be now. Abeg make we go enjoy life, Joe." That was the moment Osagie had waited for. Facing them before either of them could process what was happening, Osagie stood up. Kelvin was in shock. Itohan stumbled backwards, her mouth hanging open in horror. You could walk?" "Yes," Osagie said coldly. "I've been walking since the 4th week. I only pretended because I needed to see who you really are." Itohan broke down, trembling. "Wait, Osagie, please, I can explain." "Don't insult me. You brought strangers into our home. You mocked me in my weakest moment. You betrayed our vows, Itohan." Kelvin, sensing danger, grabbed his car keys and left without a word. He took off. "I was angry. I was hurt too. I did not know how to cope, Itoha said. Osagie cut her off. You showed your true self, Itoha. And now it's time for you to go. You wanted to Jakba, right? Here's your chance. She left with nothing but her purse and broken pride. The house grew peaceful again. Osagie walked freely. He stretched, he exercised, even cleaned the small sitting room while humming, My God is a good God, yes, He is. The air was lighter. The chains had fallen off. Ivie came over one morning with some food and worried look. I heard about it to her, she said softly. Yes, I let her go, Osagie said. But I don't feel angry anymore. I just feel free. They sat quietly for a while. Then Osagie turned to her. You stood by me when I was nothing, Ivie. You never mocked me. You saw the man behind the wheelchair. And if there's anything good that came from all of that, it's you. Please subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell, like, and comment. Thank you. Her lips parted slightly, eyes glistened. He reached out, gently taking her hand. I don't know what the future holds, but I'd like to walk into it with someone like you. Ivie smiled, shy but sincere. Then, let's take it one step at a time, Osagie. And just like that, Osagie took his first step, not just as a healed man, but as a man reborn. Weeks later, Itohan tried to call Osagie. He never answered. She sent long, teary voice notes. He never listened to them. In a final attempt, Itohan stood outside his door one Sunday evening, weeping. Osagie, please, I am sorry. I've lost everything. I was stupid. He came to the door, stood silently, and looked at her for a long time. There was no hate in his eyes, just a calm resolve. I forgave you the day you left, he said softly, but forgiveness doesn't mean return. He turned, walked back into the house, and shut the door gently. That door would never open again to Itohan. As weeks turned into months, something beautiful blossomed where the ashes had once laid. Ivie did not just become a helper, she became a light. Her laughter filled Osagie's once silent home. Her presence softened the corners of his broken heart. She never forced anything. She simply was. And in being herself, she healed him. He knelt, not dramatically, not with flair, just a humble, genuine bend of the knee. I don't want to rush you, Ivie. I don't even know what you'll say. But if there's even a chance you could walk with me, not as my helper, but as my heart, then I want to take that chance, Ivie, with you. You never had to pretend to be crippled for me to love you, she whispered. But you needed to break to know who really stood. She hugged him tightly. Yes, let's take that step together. Their engagement wasn't loud. No pre-wedding shoot, no extravagant parties, just a simple ceremony, friends, family, and a lot of smoky jollof rice. As Osagie stood at the altar months later, watching Ivie walk towards him in her white gown, he felt no trace of pain, only peace. This time, there was no accident. This time, he walked out of the church hand in hand with a woman who never needed a perfect man, just a man who is truly himself. And the community, once filled with whispers, now had something new to say. Some weddings crash, some heal, but this one rose from the ashes, blossoming beautifully.